snowballs in summertime?
Well, you see, Hiawatha, it's too cold to make them in the winter.
Oh, me see. Snow too cold in winter. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Huh?
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing? You didn't know that. That's how you make snowballs in July. Breaking news. They are launching Neuva Snow and the Nitro today. So if you're wanting the snow, the collagen with the added benefit of the snow mushroom and all that goes with it, it's the same collagen that the former BIOCELL had with the benefits of the snow mushroom. And there's so much to it, which I'm not going to get into right now, but we'll talk about it in the future, very near future. But if you want it today, launches today. So now we no longer just have one product and one digital product. We now have two more products coming online, and there's more coming too. But wait, there's more. It keeps getting gooder and gooder. I'm telling you, fired up about it. But this is the day. By the way, that's one of my favorite Bugs Bunny cartoons. And as soon as I saw they were pitching snow in July for the snow collagen, that's what came to my mind right there. But how you make snowballs in July? That's the best. Anyways, snow in July. Because it's too cold in the wintertime. Come on now. All right, this is the day the Lord has made. Now we'll rejoice and be glad in it. It's Thursday. That's Friday Eve for those of you, on the coast. For the rest of the working world, it doesn't matter. We work on the weekends too. And the word of the day brought to us by Marine in the Woods, as given by the Lord, is Isaiah 53, 1-9. That's Isaiah 53, 1-9. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today. And the best Bible to read is the Holy Spirit Bible, the one that influences you through the Holy Spirit. Generally, I don't really mess with the commentaries anymore because it seems like the commentaries are made up. Don't release any more, Mike. My wife's been. Oh, it's all right, Mike. She wants to do something with this thing. Let's see where it goes. But I appreciate it. I do. Ooh. So anyway, life is good all the time, especially when you're walking in the Lord. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong when God calls you to do something and you do it without question. You can't go wrong. Of course, if you're like me, you argue with him for 6 months before you start, or 6 years before you start, and you think about it. Once you got it going, man, imagine what would happen if I started when he first started telling me. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. And of course, Famous Amos will tell you a fraud, because God would never, ever tell you to do anything like I'm doing. And besides, I am not a perfect Christian. And I admit, you're right. You are way more of a better Christian than I am on every level. You know the Bible better. You're closer to God. You got your white shirt, your khaki pants. You're doing great. And I am like Lazarus, not the one that rose, but the one that was on his knees crying out before God when the rich man looked at him and said, at least I'm not like him. I am just a wretch saved by grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Amazing grace. That's all I am. That's all I am. And that's all I claim to be. And when God says, say it or do it, I say, yes, sir. Or in this case, yes, Lord, because I made a commitment 3 years, 4 years ago. Actually, it was longer than that. Is when I started the show. But it's been that long, man. to yes, Lord. How high, Lord? Whatever he tells me to do. Whatever he tells me to do. I've struggled with a few things because I want to remain humble, and it's a challenge when you're a prideful wretch to be humble. So I'm like, Lord, I don't want to step out. I don't want to get over my skis too far here. Got to do it anyway. Right, Mike? Anyways, let's get started with the show. The Babylon Bee reporting the news before the news happens. Greenville, Delaware, in a rare public appearance after leaving office in January, former President Joe Robinette Biden stated that he absolutely would have approved all the presidential pardons if he'd known about them. In brief comments to reporters outside Delaware home, Biden addressed persistent rumors that he knew nothing about the pardons he issued in the closing days and hours of his presidency, reiterating that he would have approved them if anyone had asked him. Let's be clear. I was on board with all these pardons I issued, even the ones I found out about later, Biden said. There's a lot of malarkey going around about me not really being the one calling the shots, but that's nobody knows. It's more like this, but that's I can't. I'm getting no Hank in my. It's that's but that's well, never mind. Nobody knows. There's not a single pardon with my signature on it that I don't agree with, even the ones that other people signed. If I didn't approve of them, then bars are bond. Controversy has grown over the last several months about the legitimacy of many of the pardons that bore Biden's signature, something with which the former president takes great exception. Listen up, folks. Listen up. Listen up, folks. I was the president, he continued. The idea that the folks who were making the decisions for me were the ones making the decision is just it's just come on, man. Huh. Thank you for that, Mike. I appreciate it. Good morning, Mike and Patriot family. I'm a couple days behind, so I'm catching up. Well, I appreciate you being there. They'll get you tomorrow on the pink salt trick. Don't worry about it. Oh, my goodness. At publishing time, news broke that previously undiscovered pardons had been found, preemptively clearing all members of Biden's White House staff and his auto pen of any potential wrongdoing. Like, that's like magic. This is the Babylon Bee, so it's satire, but would that surprise you if all of a sudden a whole bunch of new pardons just popped up, backdated? We backdated these to January 19th, all signed by the same auto pen. Just like that. Just like that. Not to be outdone by the satire, the real news today.
He took it.
According to Fox News, Bernelli, the chief of staff to Jill Biden and her self-proclaimed work husband, who kissed on the lips at the convention. Who's cheating who and who's being true and who don't even care anymore? Who's doing right by someone tonight and whose car's parked next door? Or whose bed has your boots been under? That's right. Oh, there's lots and lots of rooms in the White House. Just saying. Anyways, so here he testified before the Congress, and as Nancy Pelosi was drinking the fifth, he pled the fifth.
He took a similar tack that the physician for Joe Biden took last week. What was interesting about the testimony from last week is that we all thought it was confidential behind closed doors, but in the evening they released the videotape of him saying, on the advice of my counsel, I'm not going to answer that question. So we'll see whether or not there's a video that's produced from this testimony that probably, I guess you could say, did not happen because he answered no questions. All right. That's from DC.
So he pled the fifth. He pled the fifth when asked specific, or as they say here in southern Missouri, Pacific questions about the what was going on at the Biden administration, which he was really, really involved with. Here is Mr. Comer. Not Comey, Comer, talking about some of the questions that he pled the fifth to while Nancy Pelosi was drinking the fifth.
Well, unfortunately, that was quick. This is the second witness that we've brought in via subpoena for a deposition that has pled the fifth, and they've stated they're not going to answer questions. I want to read the first two questions, just so everyone knows. These are the types of questions we asked. Was Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president? He pled the fifth.
Really?
Second question. Did any unelected official or family member execute the duties of the presidency? And this is Joe Biden's chief of staff. Did any unelected officials or family members ever execute the duties of the presidency? Simple question. He knew he was going to be asked that. Everybody in America wants to know that. He pled the fifth. So we're going to continue our investigation. I think that the American people are concerned. They're concerned that there were people making decisions in the White House that were not only unelected, but no one to this day knows who they were. We believe there was illegal use of the auto pen. We're going to continue to bring these people in, give them an opportunity to answer questions.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's plead the fifth. Is Joe Biden competent? I plead the fifth. Come on, man. You can't make this stuff up. This is for real. This is some of the crazy stuff. Can we say Strange July yet? I don't know. We got flood watches and warnings and all that stuff going on here in central Missouri as it rained all night long. And it is a little unusual, how shall we say, strange to have this much rain in July and August. Actually, not in August. Usually when the state fair comes, which is right there in Sedalia, Missouri State Fairgrounds, usually when the state fair comes sometime within the first few days, and that's the first week or two of August. Usually in the first couple of days, a big thunder boomer comes through and knocks down all the tents. And that's because you see, June, July, we're in the middle of summer, but you start getting into August and we start transitioning. And I don't mean the way they do it in San Francisco, back to a fall and winter. So you get the combination of the hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And that brings on with a hot, Hannity, humid days, as Sean Hannity used to say, of summer. Lots of moisture in the air can be wringed out as the colder temperatures start coming down. And, by colder, it's 96 degrees. Well, if you got 86 coming down, it's a little colder. And then the next, and I watch it happen. In September, it's August, it's 90. In September, first couple weeks, it's 80. Towards the end of September, the highs are in the 70s. In October, we start getting 60s and 50s, and sometimes even colder than that. And then in November, we start getting 40s and 30s, and then it's wintertime. It's amazing how it happens every single year. It's predictable, but man's controlling the weather. Man's controlling the weather. That's what we're told. That's what we're supposed to put our faith in. God told me there are no weather weapons, but weather is weaponized. And what does that mean? And what does that mean? That means that figures don't lie, but liars figure. That's what that means. All right. Here's some more. Here's Mr. Brunelli as he's asked questions.
Mr. Bernal, was President Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Mr. Bernal, did any unelected official or family member of President Joe Biden execute the duties of the presidency?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Mr. Bernal, did President Joe Biden ever instruct you to lie regarding his health at any time, including but not limited in your testimony to Congress today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why are you pleading the Fifth? I mean, it was asked, was the president competent? You can't answer yes? You're pleading the Fifth? It's incriminating to you that if you answer that question, it's incriminating to you? People who drinks the Fifth. There's so many Fifths going around. I don't know if I can handle it. Yep. I guess he didn't get a pardon, but wait. We're coming up to a constitutional crisis, because if the auto pin signed the pardons and not Joe Biden, but the Supreme Court had ruled years ago that if you accept a pardon, it's tantamount admission to guilt. And you cannot plead the Fifth or drink the Fifth, because you cannot be charged for the crimes that you've been pardoned for when you testify. So what are people going to do? And the Supreme Court's going to have to rule on this. Well, I plead the Fifth, but you were pardoned, but the pardon was not real, but you accepted the pardon. And the Supreme Court said you accepted the pardon, it means that you're guilty. What are you guilty of? I plead the Fifth. You see the problem here? Things are going to get sketchy. For some people, things are going to get sketchy. For some people, I'm afraid. Not me, though. I had no part of it. Speaking of part of it, Hunter Biden did an interview this weekend. Did you know that? Or this week? Hunter Biden back in the news.
That I was in any way making a single decision about anything in that White House. I stayed as far away as I possibly could, which, by the way, broke my heart.
What do you make of that commentary now, Hugh?
It's not true. I just finished reading the book 2024 by Josh Dawsey and two colleagues who investigated thoroughly the campaign. In it, they document that Hunter Biden pops up on a conference call in the Oval Office. He obviously wasn't in the White House. He popped up on a conference call, stunned everyone in the room. The counsel to the president said that was inappropriate. So Hunter Biden doesn't have to physically be there to be calling the shots. He put his 2 cents in on to how then President Joe Biden ought to respond to the Supreme Court's immunity decision in the summer of 2024. But that was completely a lie, what he just said. I don't think he was chief of staff. I think he was a constant presence. I think every book that has been done, not just the Tapper and Alex Thompson book, but also John Allen, Amy Parnes, and then this new one by Josh Dawsey, they document again and again and again. Hunter Biden was his father's second closest advisor after the first lady, and he is a convicted felon. And when they go to talk to him, he's going to have to answer questions. He's not going to be able to plead the Fifth. Again, immunize and then take a long deposition to find out what was going on in that White House.
So we'll see eventually if James Comer gets down the list to him. Hugh, nice to have
Thought I'd keep the gun, but I got high. Ooh. Yep. Hunter Biden. I didn't have nothing to do with it. It wasn't me. That's another song. It wasn't me. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is going to get uglier and uglier. And people are going to start running for the tall grass. People are upset with Donald Trump. I was just looking before we started the show today. I was trolling through Facebook, and Darlene, she's, and I'm not, this is not a criticism in any way, but she's really questioning Donald Trump and his actions right now. Hey, Darlene, watch my show. Watch my show. We're going to talk about it today. There's so much going on here. So much going on here. God is doing this. God is doing it. I don't care what you say. God is doing this. 100%, no doubt in my military mind, God is doing this. Here's Donald Trump's truth yesterday that got everybody all riled up. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier and the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss of the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes were all the Democrats were good at. That's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this BS. Barney Sanders. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will. Even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. Now, let me just explain something to you all, okay? People are really offended by this post, but that's because they can't read, and they're reacting instead of stopping and thinking and acting, which is what I talked about yesterday and the day before. Because let me break this part down for you right here. Let me break this down right here for you, okay? Unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue, which we don't do. And their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And by the time this is done, that's what everybody's going to be saying. And everybody's going to be going, I'm with Trump. It's a hoax. It was messed up, blah, blah, blah. Because they're going to jump, because Donald Trump's going to turn out to be right. And my past, all capitalized, PAST supporters who have bought into this Bernie Sanders hook, line, and sinker. So these supporters, the Republicans that can't stick together, these reporters, they have never learned these supporters, they have never learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 years. 8 years, past supporters, the Republicans that don't stick together. Who are we talking about? All the same reporters that were going, Russia, right along with the Democrats. All the same, reporters, Republicans who said the laptop from hell was fake. All the same Republicans that week after week after week were crying in their tears because the walls are closing in. Rachel Maddow said so. Every single time, every single scanner, the usual suspects are out there doing their thing. The only difference is this time around, some of the Patriot mythology pushers are pushing this thing hard. It's almost as if they were told it was coming. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country. This is totally true. The border, the getting rid of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and exposing it too. Team Elon 2028. Well, Elon can't run for president, so yeah. And if Elon will be voting for a communist, because he's a communist, he's a socialist. That's who he is. He says so. And all these people want to do is talk about, with strong prodding by the fake news, because they've been programmed, like I talked about on my show, they've been programmed for 10 years to react exactly how they're reacting. With strong prodding by fake news and the success star of Dems is Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible, unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. He doesn't want our support anymore. I'm not supporting him. Weren't you a never Trumper to begin with? Well, that's beside the point. I had to vote for him last time because I couldn't vote for Kamala Harris, although I really, really wanted to. Okay, Karen. Stephen. Let me tell you. All the usual suspects. Epstein. Donald Trump has rescued 100,000 kids from pedophiles and slavery in the last 4 or 5 months. What have you done? Well, Epstein, he's dead. His operation isn't happening anymore. But Epstein, that's the point Donald Trump's trying to make. What have you done for me lately? But Epstein's bad. He's also dead, running in hell. Or is he? Dum, dum, dum. He's coming back. He's coming. Rose from the dead like Lazarus. Doubt it. I doubt it. They took care of him. Just remember something. Donald Trump, who wrote The Art of the Deal, which is a copy put into business terms of The Art of War, who was raised up according to the prophetic word spoken through his people, from Kim Clement to just regular preachers who said, this is what God's telling me, and I don't understand it. Back in 2015, 2014, 2007. 2007. I will make Trump a trumpet to trumpet the evil that is in this government. Mark my words, this Epstein stuff and Trump's stance on it is going to blow this thing out of the water in the vein of Cyrus for such a time as this. That is the prophetic word, and it's being fulfilled before your eyes. And remember, Donald Trump has said this for a long time. Donald Trump has been anointed by God from birth for this. It's manifested itself in so many different ways. He didn't understand it then, may not understand it now. We didn't understand it then. Why Donald Trump was so popular, why Donald Trump did the things that he did in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. He was a womanizer. And I know that you accepted the Lord as your personal Savior at 8 years old. And from that day forward, you walked with a little halo with your hands like this, except for when you were holding your Bible, and you prayed 18 hours a day, and you sang glorious hymns to God, and you never, ever did anything wrong. But some of us were saved by grace because we're wretches. Well, so was Donald Trump. God's anointing has nothing to do with the person. has to do with God. Well, God would never use somebody like Donald Trump. Have you read the book? The Bible, that is? I got one word for you. Samson. That's all I got to say about that. Here's Donald Trump. Just remember who he is.
I'm so loyal to people. Maybe I'm loyal to a fault, but I'm so loyal to people that when somebody's slightly disloyal to me, I look upon it as a great act of horror.
And how are you different than you were 3 or 4 years ago?
Well, I used to say, and in fact, I think I said in the first book that, and maybe this was foolish, but I really meant it, that someday I'd like to maybe lose everything for a period of time to see who's loyal and who's not loyal. And frankly, I found out a lot of things.
Did you find out who's loyal and not
I'll tell you
loyal?
what, and you can't guess it. You can't predict it. You think certain people would be loyal no matter what. And it turns out that they're not. And you just can't predict it. It's very difficult.
One day I just want to lose everything to find out who's loyal. This is Donald Trump's mindset. This is who Donald Trump is. And he plays these games. You know, I'm trying to say this in a nice way. When I used to sell cars, I would do things and say things on the lot when I'm showing somebody a car just to see the reaction. And after and I would do the same thing in the process of repossessing a car, you know. I would say things and do things just to see the reaction. Or sometimes I would say things and do things to set people up because I know what their response is going to be. And I'm not saying I'm nowhere near as smart as Donald Trump. But when you're dealing with something, you know, when you're in a battle of the wits and the other person is unarmed, sometimes it's just not fair. I would, you know, a person would come in and they would say, oh, why'd you repossess my car? And I had my books. I still got my books. They're in that cabinet right back there. I have my books. And because there's still people that owe me money. And once in a while, I'll get an email or a message or something or a letter that says, I need the lien release for my car. And I'm like, great. You still owe me $792. Give me the $792. I'll be glad to give you a lien release. Anyways, that's what I'm talking about. They come in and they say, why'd you repossess my car? And I say, well, you're 4 months behind on your payments at $50 a week. So that's, you know, X amount of dollars plus late fees, plus the repossession fee, plus, and now you owe me $2,000. I'm only 2 months behind. Okay, 2 months behind. Fine. Well, recalculate. You only owe me this much. Well, how do I get my car back? Well, you give me this much money. I can't afford to do that. I want my radio. I paid thousands of dollars for that Craco radio installed in the dash so I can listen to my tunes. Did you really? Wow. Well, here's what I'm going to do. No, you're not going into the car and cutting the dashboard apart to take out the radio that you installed yourself. But here's what I'm willing to do. The guy down the street will remove the radio for $50. This was in the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think he'd do it. It's probably 150 or 200 now. But at the time it was $50. I'll tell you what to do. Give me the $50. I'll give you a receipt right here. I'll have the radio professionally removed. So we don't tear up your radio, we don't tear up the car, and you can come get it here in a couple of days. How about that? I'm not giving you $50. I thought it was a $2,000 radio. I mean, $50, $2,000. And they leave and never come back. One time I did that with this old boy. It was a Pontiac Sunfire. It was a Walmart radio or something along that. It wasn't much. Back in the day, you know, nowadays you can't even replace the radios in cars. I took the faceplate off the radio and I showed up to the shop, and my neighbor Jack was over there. Jack had a mechanic shop, and part of his shop was a little apartment, and he rented that out. He was telling me the guy saw they caught somebody in the backyard on the cameras, and he hopped the fence. And anyways, the guy had hopped the fence. I had a van parked there, and as he come up over the fence, well, first what he did is he hopped the fence and stole the radio out of the car without the faceplate, right? Then hopped back over the fence, and that's when the neighbor had already heard the dog was barking. He was standing in the backyard there, this fence around this mechanic shop, and goes, "What are you doing?" The guy jumps back over the fence in a hurry, and as he does, he slams both hands because he kind of falls into this Dodge Caravan that was parked right there through the side windows. And there's this trail of blood like somebody shot a deer all the way down the street. And I looked in the mirror and I saw this Cadillac with big wheels on it. So I know who the guy was. And he got his radio. So I got on Facebook, went live, and said, he called him out by name, tagged him in the video. And I said, when you stole the radio out of the car, you forgot your faceplate to the radio. And I took outside and went, smash. And then I stomped on it a few times. I said, it's in the parking lot if you want to come get it. I wasn't being very Christian. I'm just saying, sometimes you can get reactions out of people by the things that you do and the things that you say. No faceplate, no worky, right? And have you ever tried to get a faceplate for a radio? I'll buy a car in an auction, and you can't get a faceplate for. I mean, they're out there, but you got to have this code and that code, and you got to have the original sales. You can't get a faceplate for a radio. Back in the day, nowadays it don't even matter, but back then you couldn't. It was almost ridiculous. Anyways, I went through all that just to say that you can mess with people. Donald Trump is the master of messing with people, of saying things to get people all riled up and upset. He does it every single time. It's crazy. So John Solomon had the president on yesterday, and they had some discussions. Here's how that went.
Sir, I want to dive into something we confirmed earlier this week. The FBI under Kash Patel has opened a grand conspiracy case looking at the last decade of weaponization against you and the protection of Democrats like Hunter Biden and Hillary Clinton as one ongoing criminal conspiracy. I want to ask what you think of that approach and whether you think a special prosecutor might be warranted.
Well, I'm happy that they did that. I don't know much about it, but it deserves to be done. It was a disgrace what happened. And what happened in 2016 and what happened in 2020. It's a disgraceful situation, and our voting has to be straightened out. I always say, if you don't have borders, if you don't have fair and free voting, you don't have a country. And we have disgraceful voting that they spend all of this money on voting, and some of the votes don't come back for weeks later. The whole thing it's a scam, and we have to straighten it out.
For all the things that have happened, there's the Russia collusion against you. There is Jack Smith against you. There's all the things that happened in 2020, not investigating China interference in the 2020 election. Where do you think, what are the things that are most important that you would like to see the FBI get to the bottom of?
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. That's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And, some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do. They just don't have the sustainability. They don't have they don't have that stick to it like glue. The Democrats, they have bad policy. They have bad candidates. They have bad everything, but they stick together. The Republicans don't do that, but they ought to look into the Jeffrey Epstein hoax too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
No, they definitely set the Republicans up. One big prosecutor look at it all. Would that make you feel good, you think?
Well, I think it's in the case of Epstein, they've already looked at it, and they are looking at it, and I think all they have to do is put out anything credible. But, that was run by the Biden administration for 4 years. I can imagine what they put into files, just like they did with the others. I mean, the Steele dossier was a total fake.
Right.
They took 2 years to figure that out for the people. And all of the things that you mentioned were fake. Yep. So I would imagine if they were run by Chris Wray and they were run by Comey, and because it was actually even before that administration,
right,
they've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me. But especially you look at that Steele dossier where they paid like 14 or 16 million. That's more than James Patterson gets paid to do a #1 bestseller. And the thing turned out to be a total scam. So frankly, I think I love that they're looking at all this stuff. If they are, I hope they are.
Yeah, we've definitely confirmed it. They definitely are.
Mr. President, this is something that could give the American people answers on 3 different elections, 2016, 2020, and 2024. But to get that rolling, there are 2 sets of documents that are key to identifying possible conspiracy. But a grand jury can't see them unless you declassify them. Would you declassify the classified annex in the Hillary Clinton email case, as Senator Grassley has been asking?
Well, I would do that. I would do that. Absolutely. I think it should be looked at. The whole thing was a scam.
Yeah.
And I would do that gladly.
Great. And there's one other one I want to mention. In the Durham report, they talk about the Clinton plan intelligence, the intercept where Hillary Clinton approves hanging that Russian shingle on your campaign house. That's another one that hasn't yet been declassified. Was that another one you'd consider declassifying?
I would declassify it. Yeah, why not? I would absolutely declassify it. And I will say this, the Durham report was preceded by the Horowitz report.
That's
and
right.
Bill Barr should have used the Horowitz report. You didn't need the Durham report because
That's right.
Say what you want about Mr. Horowitz, though. He was appointed by Democrats, but he wrote the most vicious and true report that you've ever seen on somebody, and that was on James Comey.
Yep.
And I believe, a couple of the people in the FBI that were crooked. But this report was so big, and then go back and check, even the New York Times wrote a violent editorial about Comey based on this report.
Yep.
And for some reason, Bill Barr didn't use it. I'd never, it's such a disappointment, but he didn't use it. But that was one of the big things. And it got very little press. I think it was approximately 28 pages of corruption, absolute corruption.
You're right.
And that should have been used. Well, instead, Barr wanted to do a further report.
Yeah.
So he put Durham in charge, and, Durham took years. I mean, it took so many years. I think it was just a tapping. I think you ought to look at that, too. Why did they tap it along? They tapped it along forever. Do you remember how long it took for Durham to come out with his report?
23.
By the time he came out with a report, everybody was old and looking to retire.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. No
Mr.
doubt.
President, I want to shift to the
But I'd love you to look at the Horowitz report. It was absolutely incredible and had more credibility because he's a Democrat.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's, Donald Trump. He's doing Donald Trump. And he's stirring that bucket to see which poop flies to the top. I think the Kim Clement prophecy, a man of choice words. I do not think he uses his words lightly. And he sometimes says things that are offensive and get you all riled up. What you need to do is act and not react. You don't have to agree. But I think that when it comes to this Epstein stuff, there's a whole lot more there. That's why he's doing what he's doing. I really do. And then there's this story that's still hanging around. This is going to blow up in their faces too. Democrats have a mortgage fraud problem and feds are on the case. It's not just Adam Shifty Shift, and it's not just Loretta St. James. It's all of them. And Republicans too. They're all playing this game. All of them are playing this game. All of them. That's part of the problem that we have here. Here's a meme just for fun. The LA mayor and the soon-to-be Minneapolis mayor. I am your mayor now. Look at me. Look at me. I am your mayor now. Oh, and then there's this guy. Speaking of Patriot mythology pushers, a lot of people follow this guy, and he says a lot of things. I don't follow him anymore because about half of what he says is BS. About half of his predictions come true. He's saying that Trump's highway heading over a cliff Right now, Trump's heading over a cliff. Let me tell you, the same guy was on with Judge Napolitano on their show while the B-2s were flying over to bomb Iran, screaming and hollering that Trump is getting us into World War III and our kids are going to die. Our sons and daughters are going to die. They're going to blow up our cities. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. Because he's an expert on the military. The same time they were live, we're all going to die, as the bombing was happening, and Donald Trump brought it to an end. I'm just saying. All these people were screaming a couple weeks ago, World War III, World War III, World War III, World War III, are now screaming Epstein, 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 Epstein. And it turned out Donald Trump was right. You know, just these same people were screaming. You can't shut down these jobs. You can't fire these people. Turned out Epstein was right. Trump was right. All these people were screaming about Doge. Turned out Donald Trump was right. It's all the same people. He's controlled by the Jews. It's all the same people. It's amazing how it happens. It's amazing how it happens all of a sudden. Then there's these reports coming out. Why all the Epstein stuff, Epstein this and Epstein that, and Epstein this and Epstein that. We got to do something about the children. Well, Epstein's no longer abusing children. He's dead. But there are children being abused. And who's the one man doing something about it? That's not true. There are several people and organizations, ICE, FBI, several private organizations that are rescuing children all over the world. I'm glad you asked that question, Tard and Feather. We interrupt this regularly broadcast. I was waiting for the question. He says, it's over. Why? If it's over, why did Israel drop bombs yesterday? Well, because the media is not, because Israel's Jews are bad. They're evil. They're killing innocent people. They bombed a church. Well, since you asked the question, let me answer it for you. And it's true. It's true. Israel is bombing the snot out of Syria as we speak. I have video. Those bad, evil Jews, how dare they? That was the military headquarters they just bombed right there. Well, it was the military headquarters. This is the U.S. Special Representative for Syria, Tom Barak, condemns violence against civilians in Syria's Swadia, calling for meaningful dialogue that will lead to a lasting ceasefire. The recent skirmishes in Swadia, by the way, what he's talking about is not the Jews, it's the Islamic ISIS forces attacking the Druze and the Christians. Yeah, they're ethnically cleansing the Jews and the Christians. But because they're not Gazanians or Palestinians, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything. They're literally lining them up in the streets by the hundreds and executing them by shooting them in the back of the head. The difference is, though, is that guns lie around everywhere in Syria, and they have for a long time. And the Druze, the Druzinians, while they're trying to hold on to their oxygen, and the Christians are fighting back. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. and Israel has entered in on the side of the Jerusenians as they try to keep their heir. You know, it'd be terrible if a Jewish princess fled from the scene because she didn't want to get married. Anyways, and the Christians, that's why Israel's bombing. They've entered the war on their side. HTS terrorists burned and looted the St. Michael's Church in the town of Al-Sara, whatever that place, northern countryside in Swadi. Anyways, this little province is on the border with Israel in southern Syria. And as the ISIS forces, the government forces, which is ISIS, the ISIS has took it over. Jordanians. That's what I'm saying. These are the actions of those supported by Tom Barak. There's all kinds of stuff going around right now. Most of the information I'm sharing you with right now comes from a pro-Ukraine, pro-Iran, anti-Israel page. The Syrian Defense Forces, a la ISIS. ISIS controls the government of Syria. These are them going in. There's a civil war breaking out in Syria. By the way, that was prophesied. Nothing like a Toyota full of jihadis with a big mean machine gun attached to the back. Here's Tom Barak, ambassador. We are actively involved with all constituencies in Syria to negotiate towards calm and continued productive integration discussions. The recent skirmishes in Sul, I don't even know how to say the word, I'm sorry, are worrisome on all sides. Worrisome, that's a proper word. And we are attempting to come to a peaceful, inclusive outcome for the Druze, Bedouin tribes. So these are Arab Bedouin tribes. I asked Aaron, what is this? What is a Druze? Is that a religion? What is that? They're Bedouins. If you don't know what the Bedouins are, they're nomadic tribes they're Arabs. Saudi Arabia is full of them. Iraq is full of them. They've been around for thousands of years. Some practice Islam, some don't. Some practice other religions. Some practice Christianity. The Syrian government and Israeli forces, the Druzian Bedouin tribes, the Syrian government and Israeli forces misdirection, confusion, and inefficient communications is the greatest challenge in assuring a peaceful and thoughtful integration of each party's interest. We are in direct, active, productive discussions with all sides to navigate towards calm and integration. The ISIS forces, the ISIS Islamic forces are doing what Islamic forces do all over the world. Once they get in power, they force out or kill all other religions and people groups that don't go along with them. You convert or you die. They're doing what they do. And Israel is bombing the snot out of them. Here is Israel. This is the northern border where they've opened the fence to allow the Druzians who live in Israel, are Israeli citizens who are not Jews. It's the Jews. The Jews, they don't allow people to live in their country. They're apartheid and ethnic cleansing, except these people. They opened the border fence to allow them to go in and defend their extended families, brothers, sisters, cousins, whoever on the other side against the Islamic forces of the government of Syria. Israel put out word to not go into, while they opened the gate, to not go into Syria because you may not, it may be dangerous. Here is HTS government forces entering the area. These are the former ISIS forces that took over the country earlier this year and are now their government. That right here, right there, that guy, he's got his right there. He's got his tactical sandals on. Ain't that right, Mike? They all have tactical sandals. As they're moving in and ethnically cleansing and killing people and all that stuff. Here's some more Druzian, how do you say it? Druzian volunteers gathering to enter into Syria and help defend Syrian forces. Look at them. So there's civil war breaking out, and Israel has entered in on the side of the Christians and other minority groups. That's what's happening here. Here is the Druze political elders have called for general mobilization and the call to raise arms against Jolani government. That's the ISIS government. That's the guy that's in charge. Steel-toed tactical flip-flops. This is the General Staff building in Damascus. The one we just watched get bombed live on television. This is Israel bombing the snot out of that building. No word on who was in there, who got killed, whatever. But Israel's perfecting the decapitation of government attacks. They're doing pretty good.
في محيط السويداء الليلة الماضية قصف جديد مبنى هيئة الأركان خالص قصف جديد يا شباب قصف خذونا بسرعة بسرعة إذا استهداف مبنى هيئة الأركان بشكل
قصف قوي جدا وشهدناه على الهواء مباشرة الآن. نعم 3 أو 4 صواريخ انهمرت بشكل.
This is the Druzians who are trying to get their air. Raising the Israeli flag. Those guys are evil. That's weird. Why would they raise the Israeli flag? Because they're Israeli citizens. Here's another one.
شباب في عندنا قصف شباب قصف يا شباب خذونا على الهواء شباب قصف بسرعة يا شباب خذونا على اللايف.
Yep, that's what he said.
Allahu Akbar.
More views of it. Did you hear that? Agbu snack bar coming soon in Syria. All right.
Allahu Akbar.
You asked, I delivered. That's what's going on. They're bombing Syria. They're context, just like the Bible. Don't believe the hype. Get to the real truth of the matter. What's really going on. So yes, Israel's bombing Syria. Israel much prefers to have the Christians and the Druze in the regions just north of their fence than having ISIS forces there. Oh, I'm not even going to comment on that one. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. So back to the regularly scheduled Epstein stuff. So I was talking about how, the Maxwell trial, the Diddy trial, all of this stuff seemed that there was a conspiracy afoot. Prosecutors or reports, Manhattan prosecutor who handled the Epstein case is fired. She handled the Diddy case too. She's the daughter of Mr. One and Only James Tiberius Comey. I'm making lots of TV show and movie references today for some reason. Here is Political as they report. Shocked, I tell you. We're shocked. How do you say her name? Is it Maureen? Maurice? I don't know. Maureen Comey, daughter of James Comey and prosecutor of Jeffrey Epstein, is fired. Comey, who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein and is the former FBI director, James Comey's daughter, was fired Wednesday from her job in Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, according to two people familiar with the matter, who were granted anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. The reason for her firing is not immediately clear. I can tell you why. She did not immediately respond to the phone calls and emails seeking comment. Spokespersons for the Justice Department and the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. Comey, who had worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office for nearly a decade, prosecuted both Epstein and his associate Maxwell. And in recent weeks, President Donald Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi have faced a firestorm of criticism over the decision not to release additional files related to Epstein, the disgraced financier who was accused of running a child sex trafficking ring for the Jews. And you spelt CIA wrong. Prosecutors in Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, including Comey, charged Epstein in 2019 with sex trafficking of minors. He died by suicide in a jail while awaiting trial on those charges. Maxwell was convicted of sex trafficking and sentenced to 20 years in prison. She's appealing her conviction. Comey's firing also comes as Trump administration is reportedly investigating her father, whom Trump has long rivaled. The investigations apparently relate to James Comey's role in the probe that links between Trump's 2016 campaign and Russia, which Politico conveniently leaves out, was completely false, as the Durham report said, as well as the recent Instagram post by Mr. James Comey, which they leave out, 8647. That Trump's allies saw as a threatening to Trump. Nobody else saw that, though, just his allies. In recent months, Maureen Comey has been the target of renewed attacks by voices in the Trump right-wing base. Bunch of KKK members. They're just hate her because she's a woman, including Laura Loomer, who called on Bondi to fire her in May. More recently, Loomer has been leading the mega base outcry over the Justice Department decision not to release further Epstein documents. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now we know. She's fired. Oh, goodness. Why do you think that happened? Let me tell you something. They do not have control of the entire apparatus of government yet. They don't. Whether you like it or not, They just don't have it. It's just not there right now. But they're working on it sooner rather than later. Did y'all hear there's a hurricane or a tropical storm down there, Louisiana, Mississippi? Yeah. You know, they steered that with HARP. They shot magic rays at it, steered it with HARP. Or not. Donald Trump just put this out, said, I've been speaking with Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States. You know, they use real cane sugar almost everywhere else in the world. They just don't hear. And they have agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all of those in authority at Coca-Cola. This will be the very good move by them. You'll see. It's just better. I don't drink Coca-Cola. In fact, I pretty much cut out every once in a while. On a hot day, I'd really enjoy a Dr. Pepper. And also maybe an A&W root beer. Ice cold. I mean, the A&W root beer's got to be like half frozen, ice cold. But on a real hot day, when you know, man, it's so refreshing. But I pretty much cut out drinking them. And I don't drink diet at all anymore. Only drink the real stuff. Give me that loaded stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I still probably won't drink soda pop. It affects me because of the gifts from my government. It affects me poorly. So I can't drink it anymore. Anyway. Oh, then there's this story. Have you seen this? So this is an automated delivery robot company in California, in Los Angeles, and they're training the robots to go around homeless people and people strung out on fentanyl on the sidewalks.
Sorry, I just wanted to capture that. We are making sure that it's testing in progress. Yeah, it's just funny because my mind went straight to, they better learn how to dodge all that.
I mean, it's more important to be safe around this.
And dodge lawsuits. That part.
So anyways, that's weird. That's weird. Felt like something just bit me in my leg. It's probably just an itch. Sometimes though, I'm like, what's going on around here? And this is now breaking news. This is from Polymarket, but I've seen it other places too. President Trump considering appointing special prosecutor to investigate Epstein files. Now, let's stop. Let's rewind to a couple weeks ago, before Donald Trump started stirring the pot and getting everybody all riled up about Epstein. Let's just go back before Epstein was an issue with Donald Trump. Could you imagine if he said, I'm appointing a special prosecutor to look into Epstein? Could you imagine what MSNBC? Could you imagine what CNN? Could you imagine what Hakeem Jeffries would be saying? They would be decrying this. But you know what they're saying today? We need a special prosecutor to investigate Epstein. Sometimes when you act instead of reacting. Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, tarred and feather. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a politician who goes, any way the wind blows? We got some of those in the Republican Party, Lindsey Graham. Or would you rather have a politician who stands on his beliefs and his principles and doesn't give a damn what the polls say? Just remember, if we backed up and Donald Trump 3 or 4 weeks ago decided to appoint a special prosecutor to look into the Epstein stuff, all the usual suspects, all the usual Republicans will all be, we're not voting for him ever again. Well, he technically can't run. So, and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi and AOC and everybody out there screaming and hollering about the special prosecutor, now they're clamoring for it. It's weird. It's almost like Donald Trump kind of messed with them there a little bit, don't you think? It's kind of weird. Who'd have thunk, right? But instead, we have to knee-jerk react. Well, you just go along with everything he says. Well, not exactly. Here's Donald Trump speaking at the White House. It's a big hoax, he says. What if it's true? What if it's true that over the last 4 years and even before, they got in there and messed with them files, deleted them files, changed them files? I mean, again, I asked the question. I asked this question of some folks. Some big name people are screaming and hollering that the Jews killed RFK. The Jews did it. 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 You know, it's in the Epstein in the RFK files. Look right there, page 32, section sign -674. Read it and weep. It's come from right from the CIA. It's absolutely true. Wait a second. You mean to tell me, do you believe when our government came out and told us that the pokey doke was safe and effective? Did you believe that? No, you didn't, did you? No. When our government come out and told us that we needed to shelter in our basements and put our masks on and shut up, did you believe that? That we need to close our churches but leave the strip clubs open? Did you believe that? Did you take that as a god-awful truth? When they came out and said, this is the most safest, most securest, most bestest election we've ever had in the entire history of all elections. No election has ever been this good in 2020. Did you believe that? Did you take that? Okay, the government said it has to be true. They would never lie to us. They want to be our best friend and hold us and hug us and squeeze us and call us George. You believed them. You believed them, right? You believed them. When they came out and they said, that's not mules dumping that stuff in those votes, and this just made up. The government said it was not true. When they came out and they told you that it was cheap fakes, that Joe Biden is with it, he's as sharp as a tack. He's working harder than any president's ever worked in presidencies ever. Did you believe him? Did you believe him? When they came out and they said that spy balloon that flew over, that's nothing. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. They're our buddies. Did you believe them? When the government comes out and says that the streaks in the sky from the airplanes ain't connected to any kind of geoengineering or anything, do you believe them? When the government says that fluoride is safe for you and the food pyramid is a certain way and you should eat this way, when the government comes out and says that Pfizer's a great company and Dr. Fauci is a saint, do you believe them? Then why the hell do you believe the CIA released RFK files are true? Why? Why would you believe it? Why would you believe if our government released the Epstein files that there would be anything accurate in them? Well, I don't believe anything the government's told me in my entire lifetime everywhere, but the Epstein files are true and the RFK files are true, and it's the Jews. I'm just saying. I go like this. I don't know if I believe these folks. They ain't never told me the truth, not one time. Not one time. But here we go. All the usual suspects, all the Patriot mythology pushers are out there going, oh, it's the Jews, it's Epstein, it's the Jews, it's Epstein, because the government documents say so. The same government that we didn't believe for years. Now we accept it as gospel truth because it's written in a CIA document. It has to be true. Give me a break. I'm done with that. I'm so done with that. Let me tell you something. I trust Donald Trump because he's anointed by God, and I trust God. And I asked God, and he hasn't given me an answer about the Epstein stuff yet, but I asked God about these subjects. I'm doing this more and more and more on these subjects because I know one thing's for sure, and that is this.
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
Ammunition used by cyber.
That's right. Psychological operations of your mind. You guys have been programmed. I've been programmed. And we're going, we're awake. We're awake. The government says we're awake. We're awake. We're awake. How many of you watched the Matrix series? The first three, right? Matrix. He wakes up. He's fighting with the rebels, and the little swarmy things are going through the basement, and they through the sewer or wherever they're at. I don't know. And then there was the second one, and then was the third one, and we find out at the end of the third one that nobody was ever really awake. That it was all part of the system. Remember that? Could it be possible that those of you that think that you're awake, you're really still asleep and they're just screwing with you? Make sure you do your own research. Make sure you go down the rabbit holes all the way down to the bottom. I know people who went to the bottom of the rabbit holes, and you wind up screaming at people in the Walmart parking lot, climbing into their cars, getting arrested because you're acting like a nut job. Let's think about it. Where do you put your faith is a big, big question. I think many of us need to take a step back, and many of us need to ask God where we should be on these subjects. Because it's we're at a serious point. We're at a serious point. Here's Donald Trump. Just sometimes this guy is freaking hilarious.
Item Schiff, I believe.
Sorry. I'd love to be. I'd really love to go. I mean, I look forward to meeting them both. I know them both very well through what I read and through what I see. Look, he's a communist. I don't think our country is ready for a communist, but we're going to see. And I don't think that race is over yet either. You do have a couple of people running against, and it'll be an interesting thing. Things are coming out about him which aren't good. And, AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time. I like Dan Bongino, yeah.
Mr. President, do you think Putin respects you and takes your threat seriously?
Oh. AOC and Jasmine Crockett need IQ tests. Stir the bucket, stir the bucket, stir the bucket, stir the bucket. I don't know about AOC, but I think Jasmine Crockett has a way higher IQ than she lets on. I think she's doing a shtick. She got hired for a certain reason to do her shtick, and that's what she's doing. It's just like me on this show. Oh, he's such an outgoing person, blah, blah, blah. He's always telling jokes and doing impersonations that really suck. in real life, I'm not this way. I'm making something entertaining. That's the point. You wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But he's sitting here talking about AOC. It's freaking hilarious. Here we go. Here's AOC on all this. And on Zoltron, she brought Zoltron down to Congress.
Get to know him. Get to know him. You know, this is not about having any kind of hard line. I think that if anybody is skeptical, I would say get to know him. And once you get into a room with him, kick the tires yourself and make your own assessment instead of just kind of making assessments from what you may see on television.
The Latina from the Bronx just wants the fam to give her new work husband a chance. She knows it's a tough sell. Her last work husband pulled the fire alarm and her family says no mas. But AOC's got a thing for bad boys. Today, she snuck Zoolander into the house while everybody was still sleeping. She had him in a little room and pulled the shades down and had people come in one at a time. First up, the crazy aunt.
All right, everyone, I am here with Zoran Mamdani, who is the leading candidate for mayor in New York City. He has so many incredible firsts, but the thing I love about Zoran is what he is doing to lift up working people.
Whatever Zoolander did to Aunt Jayapal worked. She said good guys are hard to find, but AOC is one lucky gal.
It's hard not to be won over because it's the combination of his authenticity, his smarts, and his commitment to lifting up working people and making life better for real folks that is really inspiring and not always easy to find.
Some Democrats couldn't even wait for the wedding. They were so excited that love was in the air.
You know, it's just beautiful to have someone who is so authentic. You know, that's money cannot buy that. And we had a great conversation.
Then AOC introduced him to Daddy. Dad's actually a bit of a socialist himself. He's been called a communist his whole life. So he has a soft spot for Zoolander. They hit it off immediately. Zoolander's the son Bernie's always wanted. Sources say Bernie recommended Moscow for the honeymoon.
Yeah, he did.
AOC wanted Mom to meet Zoolander too, but Pelosi wasn't around. We always knew Mom was going to be a problem. AOC's been on the phone with her all week. Mom, he's not really a communist. I swear, he's only a socialist. Pelosi's side of the family isn't really into communism. Mom's tried her whole life to keep the communists out of the house. Nancy broke her hip and she's just not feeling up to it. Uncle Jeffries doesn't look like he's going to the wedding either.
Why are you not endorsing the guy that won the Democratic primary in a contested election in your backyard?
Well, I look forward to sitting down and talking to him. I didn't get involved in that primary election and I don't know him well.
Hips don't lie. Hakeem's like, I don't really know the groom at all. I kind of liked her with Bowman. The whole house was a big pot of gossip. Is he really a communist? What's with the beard? I hear he hates Jews. Is that really true in New York? Aunt Kathy says, don't be panicking. If Bill and Hillary can stay together, we can get through this.
I've become the therapist in chief, it seems. So I'm saying, everybody, we're going to be okay. Maybe it's the mom in me. I know how to calm down situations and we'll get through this. You know, don't panic, everybody.
Don't panic. Don't panic. We'll get through it. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's all right. We're all communists on the inside. Oh, socialistic Democrats. Or no. What is it? What is it called? My hair's standing up again. I need to go get a haircut. I'm telling you what. It's what I call it. A democratic socialist. It's like communism, but with rainbows and balloons. Yeah. I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so, Tim. Here is well, I thought I had it queued right up. Where's it at? Oh, here it is. Hakeem Jeffries. Watch this. Donald Trump, Pan Bundy, and the House Republicans are protecting the swamp they promised to drain and mocking their most loyal supporters. No, they're not. Donald Trump is not talking about his loyal supporters when he's talking about those people. He's talking about the usual suspects. What they are hiding from what are they hiding from the American people? Oh, you guys better stop, because it's all of a sudden, I'm telling you, something going to happen and it's going to come out. And we're all going to know, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, where you been and who you been partying with. I'm just saying, y'all are, as my mom would say, cruising for a bruising. You guys keep up going down this road. You keep going down this road. You know, God's not one that's mocked, and he doesn't like you messing with the kids. Fake mega. That is a perfect example. Fake mega. MJ Truth over on MJ Truth Ultra on X says this. Remember, there is a mega incorporated. There's legit people who have concerns rightly in their minds, like Tartan Feather. He has concerns in the chat room, and I agree, you should have concerns, and it's all right to think things through. Absolutely. It's all right to have opinions. But there's Mega Incorporated that was always going to turn their backs on Trump. They were never Trump in the beginning, and they're never Trump in the end. The promise, the purpose of Mega Incorporated is to gain your trust so that they can sway your thoughts. Nobody's saying we shouldn't demand Epstein transparency. I'm just saying be careful of Mega Incorporated blinding you with rage to the point that one cannot see the possible bigger picture. I'm telling you, just like with the Iran-Israeli war, when all of these people were going on and on and on about World War III and all our kids are going to die and it's going to be the end of the world's coming. Jesus going to have to come back and rapture us all to save us. I don't even believe in Jesus, but those same people are stirring it up, getting everybody all riled up. Epstein, Jews. Epstein, Jews. It's like duck, duck, go. Yep, just grifting off the shirt. Is that what it says? Shirt tails. I got you. President Trump. Be careful who you followed. Yeah, I'm telling you, there are people you should follow, and there's people maybe you shouldn't. Just saying. I mean, you have a right, and you can disagree with me. You could do all of that. You could do all of it. You could disagree with me. You can disagree with everybody. But I just want you to think for yourself. Ponder these things. Ask God. That's what I want. I had a joke all lined up a little bit ago, and I can't even remember what it was I was going to say. But that's all right. It's all good. It'll come back to me. Or it won't. I don't know. Anyways, it's hard doing a podcast and being dyslexic. Here is, I just want to run this. So there's a couple of thinkers that I really do like. Let me try to get to the right page here. There's a couple of thinkers that I really, really do like in the movement, in the Patriot movement. People I suggest you follow because they think things through and they come to different conclusions than most, and then they turn out to be right. One is Bioclandestine. The other is MJ Truth Ultra. I don't agree with everything they say. I have a disagreement on some of the stuff. MJ Truth Ultra is into the weather manipulation, and you know where I stand on that, and that's okay. One of us will be right, or both of us will be wrong when it turns out in the end. Who cares? and bioclandestine, he puts a lot of deep thinking stuff out there. So I want you to think. Here is something they put forward. I'm 100% in favor of releasing all credible information about Epstein. But there's a massive difference between wanting transparency and accusing Trump and his appointees of being pedo protectors that are owned by the Jews. It's the Jews. That's where the enemy has manipulated many of you. They've weaponized this Epstein obsession and used it to turn Trump supporters against him. First, it starts by just wanting answers. Then that slowly turns into Bondi, Cash, Bongino are part of a cover-up. Then Trump is a pedo. Then the entire government is owned by Israel. Therefore, we must hate Trump, etc., 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 etc. For some reason, many gullible influencers and Trump supporters are unable to walk that fine line without succumbing to the trap. Many have been whipped up into an emotional frenzy. This is by definition a psychological operation, aka PSYOP. The enemy is taking the emotions of the public and manipulating them to a desired outcome, which is Trump is bad, Orange Man bad. This is what Trump means by this being a hoax. This is the next iteration of Orange Man bad, but the hoax is targeted at Trump supporters. Your minds are under attack. Mega is under psychological assault. We are in a psychological war, and the enemy is regaining lost ground. Think about that. Just consider that the enemy is gaining lost ground. This is MJ Truth Ultra. He posted this about the nose. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories there. I don't know. He says, let's talk about the Epstein saga logically. You see, you lose logic and reason is something we don't have much of in this country. We just act like a bunch of sheep being herded. This is the reason why God calls his people sheep, because we're all a bunch of dumb animals that go, bah! Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile activities on Little St. James Island reportedly continued until 2018. A lawsuit filed by the Virgin Islands Attorney General, Denise George, alleged that Epstein was bringing girls as young as 12 to the island between 2001 and 2019, with air traffic controllers even reporting sightings of him with girls who appeared to be 11 years old as late as 2018. Epstein had been operating, in fact, since the mid-90s. Obama was president until January 20, 2017. Speaking of January 20, 2017, did you know today is July, which is 7 months, and today is the 17th of 2025, and you know what happens? You know what happens when you add 2 to 5? You get 7. That's 3 sevens and a 17. And you know what that means? Do you guys know what that means? 7, 17, 20, and 2, 5 make 7. 7, 7, 7. Do you know what that means? I'll tell you what it means.
Nothing! Nothing! Absolutely not! Stupid! You're so stupid!
It means nothing. All this numerology stuff is just getting on my nerves. Math is racist. It might mean that. I saw that today. I was talking to Aaron about it. We were joking about that today. Messaging back and forth this morning while I was trying to set up my show. Nothing. Anyways, back to MJ Truth Ultra. Trump took over on January 20th, 2017. Oh, wait, let's back up. Trump was instrumental in helping the Florida police get Epstein. They admitted to it. The prosecuting attorney admitted to it. Epstein was arrested on July 6, 2019 on federal charges for sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. Maxwell was arrested on July 2nd, 2020, about a year later in Bradford, New Hampshire. That's because they were looking for her. Remember, nobody knew where she was, by the FBI. That alone is significant in my eyes. He had previously been arrested in 2006 on state charges in Florida for soliciting prostitution, leading to a 2008 plea deal. The plea deal proven in the transcript of Alex Acosta's interview discussed Epstein belonging to intelligence, a reason for a lenient deal. This stemmed from the 2018 Miami Herald expose and the 2019 scandal leading to Epstein's rearrest, with OPR coordinating with CIA counsel on sensitive information. CIA counsel, not the Mossad, not the Jews. Okay, that was context. Essentially, Obama and the deep state had control over what info the next administration, 2017, would have access to. So the question is, did Trump have allies in the FBI, CIA, or intel community? Did he? Very few. Did Trump have enough control support to do anything? Signs point to yes for me, because it did lead to the arrest of Epstein and the eventual suicide, or as they say, unaliving. Biden's erection on January 2021, massive amounts of info, the royal family, Bill Clinton, etc., have come out, proving blackmail and control over world leaders and influential figures during this time. Trump's Junior's president, again, January 2025. That's Trump Junior's. I think that's a typo. Trump president again, January 2025. And now Trump is stating Dems poisoned the well on Epstein. Now, whether intentionally or unintentionally, President Trump is creating a massive Streisand effect. Do you know what the Streisand effect is? The Streisand effect was Barbara Streisand was complaining. I don't remember what the exact thing was, but she was complaining something about her house there in Malibu. And instead of people coming to sympathy with Barbara Streisand about whatever it was she was complaining about, they were commenting about this huge house and all this lavishness she had in Malibu, and it backfired on her. So he's saying now intentionally, I don't know if Donald Trump did it intentionally or unintentionally, but God did it intentionally. CIA or CYA? Yes. That's the timeline in a nutshell. Trump obviously knows something we do not. There is always a strong possibility Trump is using this as leverage to dig the U.S. out of a very deep hole, and we are in a deep hole, and he may be. I don't know about that. I don't really go with that theory, but okay. And to get things done that normally would be impossible for any other president to accomplish. He's already done more in 6 months than the last 20 presidents have done. Maybe not 20, maybe Eisenhower, and then after Eisenhower and beyond, he's already done more. The United States is on the verge of dismantling the IRS and the creation of the ERS. Donald Trump was talking about that this weekend. Well, the ERS is External Revenue Service. The United States is on the verge of dismantling the IRS. I said it already. We are on the verge of eliminating income taxes gradually. We are keeping banking surpluses from tariffs. We are making historic trade deals and bringing industry back into the United States. We are unraveling the satanic and tyrannical laws of the land that have been slowly enslaving us. We are on the verge of a new financial revolution. In fact, that threatens the dismantling of the old system. Roe v. Wade overturned, constitutional carry protected, religious freedoms secured, affirmative action overruled, climate change agenda halted, West Virginia versus EPA, Ohio versus EPA. And by the way, not only did those halt the climate change agenda, those halted the entire agenda of the ABCs, because those two rulings said by SCOTUS that an ABC agency cannot create law without Congress. Cleaner and safer streets, except for in San Francisco. Federal power weakened. SEC versus Jerksky. Chevron deference overturned. Fourth branch of government destroyed. So many great things are happening. So I'll end on this. If Democrats ever had anything on President Trump, Obama would have used it to prevent him from becoming president. He didn't. But the next best thing they had, which failed miserably, was Russia. Hoax and coup. They failed. What is always a possibility is that bad people who had full control over the Epstein files sabotaged it. These files implicated government agencies. It's plausible that these government agencies would honestly hold incriminating evidence against them. Is it plausible that they'd hold on to it? No. It's not outside the realm of possibility that many things were destroyed. I trust my president 100%. Anyone who's followed Epstein back then, the photos, his nose, his face, the EMTs, knows something wasn't right. My money is on Epstein being alive. This is far from over. Now, wouldn't that just be fun? Would it be fun? Wouldn't it just be fun? Now, let's watch this video right here.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you?
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with
phony stuff.
World. But I think I would, or at least.
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It'd be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one. The other stuff I would definitely do the January 6th because, beyond all of them, because what happened, how about the Unselect Committee? They had meetings, they had all Democrats and 2 failed Republicans.
It just seems like he knew what he was doing back before he became president again. He knows what's going on. Just seems like, I don't know. Will Epstein show up with RFK Jr. asking for a friend? That's why I don't go down that road very far, because the simplest answer is usually true, which is Hillary got to him. You know what I mean. Riley Gaines turns on Trump, saying he broke his campaign promise to release the Epstein files. Now watch this. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like MJ Truth, is because he goes deep into things, way deeper than I go. I am not a researcher by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not that guy. My wife is. I am not. So I rely on some people that I trust who have historically at least came up with plausible explanations. I went back through all the clips, and to my surprise, President Trump not once made a comment about Epstein during the rallies. Yes, he's been asked in a few interviews, but listen to this. You will declass Epstein files. Yeah, I guess I would. I think that less so, but you don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff. Isn't that what he's saying? That the Democrats have made this up. James Comey made this up. This has been a plant. It's been. Just stop for a second. Is this a plausible theory? They took the Epstein stuff. They took all the videos of themselves doinking children on the island out. They put other stuff in to destroy their political enemies so that if it ever came to this point, and Donald Trump knows this, is that a plausible theory? I mean, think about it. James Comey's daughter is on the prosecution team. And the Maxwell little black book of all the Johns is sealed by the courts. It's weird. Weird. It's weird. Wouldn't want to go after all them Johns now, would you? I think I would, or at least, he says. He knew something wasn't right. That's why he said what he said. I personally do not think Epstein's saga is going away, but Donald Trump most certainly did not campaign on releasing the Epstein files. He campaigned on making deals, rebuilding the economy, bringing manufacturing back to America, and something Riley should be thanking him for, keeping men out of the women's sports and the bathrooms. Don't forget, Riley endorsed DeSantis over Trump, and she was paid for her endorsement. Paid. People are getting rich right now. Lots of money flowing. Trump is a genius, and I thank God every day God every day that he's president. We are seriously in deep doo-doo as a nation. And the scariest part is that the majority of us had no clue how close we came to losing it all. We came close, and we're still close. I had no clue who Epstein was before Trump's administration arrested him. You? I had no clue who the WEF was. I had no idea about our food, chemtrails, schools, vaccines, etc. Remember what I said earlier. You didn't believe all this stuff, but we believe it's the Jews because the government told us so. I had no clue. Who out there shares this testament? The dude awakened hundreds of millions of people worldwide. Other citizens across the world wish they had their own Donald Trump, but they don't. We do. That's my president, and I'm darn proud he's my president. And there's things I don't understand, but I understand that there are things only he does. And he does what he does. Every decision, I believe, is based on what's best for the nation. Donald Trump, that's one other thing you got to realize about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, oh my God, he's covering for Epstein. He's a pedo governor. Ah! Donald Trump. Well, he doesn't care if his polls go to zero. Donald Trump will spend every piece of political capital he has to make America great again. It's not just a slogan for him. It's his reason for existing since he's been an adult. Just go back and listen to his old stuff. He's busted his ass working nonstop, and besides this Epstein saga, something none of us intimately know. We have to take it on faith because nobody knows that there is even a file. And I don't think there is. I think the file is what Maxwell has, and the courts have put it away so you can't see it. He has done an amazing job so far for the country. He has accomplished so much within the first 6 months. And I'm so excited to see what the next 3.5 years look like. Keep going, Mr. President. And then BioClandestine says this. Trump is very clearly trying to tell us that the Epstein obsession is a trap. Trump is saying we should be focused on things like the auto pen and his accomplishments. But the influencer crowd has been psyoped into having tunnel vision on Epstein. It's all they care about. You know, my dad was telling me a story. My father-in-law was telling me a story. My dad, kind of hard for him to tell me a story right now, since he's with Jesus. He told me a story about During the Korean War, there was the I don't remember what it was. The F5. I don't remember which aircraft it was. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. It was a propeller-driven ground attack aircraft, carrier-based, not the Corsair. It was another plane. And he was being chased by a MiG. And the guy in the propeller-driven American aircraft slowed his plane down because the propeller could drive slower, to the point that the MiG was at stall, and the MiG was tipped like this and couldn't get a lock on him because he kept a constant down angle. And the MiG was trying to get this guy. No, it was not a Hellcat. I'll have to look it up because I don't remember what it was. It was not a Hellcat. So he's going down. This is during the Korean War. And of course, the MiG was a jet powered plane that the North Koreans had. And he said in the last minute, there was a valley that opened up, and the propeller-driven aircraft hit its flaps and dropped down out of the sight of the MiG, and the MiG overshot him, and he pops up and launches everything he had into the MiG. It's the only time a propeller-driven aircraft, the Bearcat, that's what it was. Thank you. That's exactly what it was. The Bearcat. It's the only time a propeller-driven aircraft shot down a jet aircraft. And the reason that happened is because the pilot of the MiG got laser focused on the plane and didn't see the ground coming. And he's just moved out of the way, and the ground dropped off. He didn't see what was going on. He overshot. Guy popped up, launched a bunch of rockets and machine gun into him. And that was that. The only time it's ever happened. And it's because the pilot got laser focused. He wasn't aware, situational awareness, everything else that was going on. He realized the ground was going to change and the guy was going to be able to duck down under him, hit his flaps, slow down. By the way, the stall speed of a MiG at that time was probably what, 250 miles an hour, maybe higher. The stall speed of a piston-driven propellered aircraft was way, way, way slower than that. So no way he could outrun him. No way at high speed he could outmaneuver him, but at low speed he could. Anyways, my point in that, don't get laser focused on one thing. Situational awareness of what's around you. I mean, they teach you that in shooting school. Don't get laser focused. Pay attention to everything. No matter what Trump accomplishes now, the morons will say, what about Epstein? Even after Trump brings an end to what's the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, they will still only care about Epstein. Trump is trying to tell us that the enemy wants us distracted on Epstein because then there's less coverage on stopping the wars around the globe, fixing the economy, securing the border, deporting criminals, purging the government agencies, etc. And let me tell you something. Just like I told you, it is standard operating procedure for the Clintons. Just like I told you that back in the Clinton eras, when they were appointed a special prosecutor and they were getting into the financial dealings of Hillary Clinton, Whitewater, cattle futures, all kinds of different things like that. What'd they do? They tossed out Monica Lewinsky, and everybody went, oh, a sex scandal. Woo! And let me tell you something. Monica Lewinsky, although she was young, was older than 18. No crime. If the president of the United States of America wants to diddle an 18, 19-year-old intern, and the 18, 19-year-old intern is into it, and Hillary Clinton is into it, it doesn't matter. It's not a crime. But that's what they tossed out. So everybody's looking at the blue dress and the stains and what the definition of is, while all the stuff about the Clinton crimes, real crimes, financial crimes, election crimes, all kinds of other crimes went away. That's exactly what we're trying to do with Epstein. All the salacious stuff. Oh, golly gee. Oh, looky here. While all the other stuff just goes away. Instead, all the coverage is nonsense, claiming Trump and his administration are engaging in a cover-up, that Trump is protecting elite pedos, and Bondi Cash and Bongino should be fired, and Trump should be impeached. This is exactly what the enemy wants. It's a massive smear campaign, and it's all about the next election in a year and a half. Taking the House, and they will try to impeach him over Epstein if they take the House. Mark my words. They won't take the House. God says so. It's a massive smear campaign, a psychological operation, which means from anonymous leaks by known nefarious deep state asset Axios, combined with gullible clickbait influencers who are put there on purpose, deep agents, and social media manipulation, the enemy is fighting back. I've been trying to tell you all exactly this the entire time. This Epstein hysteria is being fueled by nefarious entities trying to hurt Trump. And as Trump says himself, many of you have bought into the BS, the Bernie Sanders, hook, line, and sinker. Trump is not saying the Epstein operation is a hoax. He's saying the current unhinged obsession with Epstein is the hoax. And it's designed to distract you, derail Trump's support, and sow doubt within the ranks. And I tip my hat to the enemy because it's working. So many look like cheese. So many have allowed their emotions to be manipulated. Don't be manipulated. Don't be one of them people that get manipulated. Don't be a panicking. Just like, I mean, we've seen the cycle now. We've seen how the cycle is cycling this season. Donald Trump's doing something big. Tariffs are going to kill us all. Tariffs are going to destroy the economy and cause inflation. Zero inflation, and June produced a couple $20 billion more revenue. Donald Trump's controlled by the Jews. He's going to start World War III for the Jews, and our children are all going to die for the Jews. World War III doesn't happen. Right? We see the cycle over and over and over. All these people are going to be fired. It's going to destroy our economy. You can't cut this much from the government. Oh, USAID, who's going to give aid to the world? Even though that's not what it is. And then it happens. We find out that the only thing USAID is accomplishing is weekly orgies. Over and over and over again. And this is the same thing. It's going to come out that Donald Trump was right. It's the same cycle. It's just like back in the day when every week was a new scandal. Every week the walls were closing in. Russia, Rachel Maddow. We got him this time. By Monday morning, it was on to the next one because that one didn't work. The mud didn't stick to the wall that time. Doggone it, darn it. It's the same story over and over again. And here we are believing it. Here we are falling for it. Just like my friends who used to call me on the phone. My buddy Rusty used to call me on the phone and he'd say, come on, did you see what they're saying this week? I said, don't worry about it. Next week will be something new. They won't even talk about this anymore. Over and over again. The cycle takes a little bit longer now, but it's still the same thing. And the truth is God is in control no matter what they say. And I'm almost done. No show after the show today. I got to go take care of some stuff. Probably won't be one tomorrow because I got to go to a meeting. But I got to play this one video for you of, if I could find it, Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama got on to his wife's show. She's got a podcast and gave advice to men. And we'll get to it in just a second. But first, this. But wait, there's more. When they just learned of the pedophilia, but weren't aware yet of cannibalism, adrenochrome, harvesting, cult worship, etc. All for the same low price. Oh, I forgot about that meme. I had that meme in there. Some of these are good. Some of these are good. And I'm not finding my Barack Hussein Obama post. Here's another meme, which is pretty much what I've been saying. It says, come on. Trump didn't release the Epstein list. Ah! The Biden autopin scandal. That's no big deal. Joe Biden, no big deal. The autopin scandal is way bigger, way more effective on your life, way more affects you way more than anything that Epstein did. Now, on an individual basis, Epstein harmed a lot of children. And there's a lot of pedos that need to be punished, but that will come out. But the autopin changed America. We got to undo some of that stuff. It absolutely set things in motion. How many laws were signed by autopin? How many executive orders were signed by autopin? You got to ask yourself these questions. That autopin thing is way bigger. I know I got Barack Hussein Obama around here somewhere. Yeah, if I keep looking, I'll find him. If I don't find him, I'll give up. It was a good one, though. It was a good one, though. What do I have? Why don't I have my BO? Let me see if I can find BO here. Let's see. Something tells me something's happening here. But someone teach this guy how to do his show. I don't know where BO is. I don't know. I don't know what happened to BO. I've got it here. I had it. Oh, well. Go to my Telegram page. It's on there somewhere, but it's not popping up. Or maybe I didn't share it onto my Telegram page. I don't know. I know I saw it. Anyways, well, that's that. It's a great interview. Go look it up. You could find it on somewhere. Maybe we'll talk about it Monday. Somebody that teach this guy how to do a show, I'm telling you. Anyways, I do appreciate y'all being here. I will see you all tomorrow. Oh, I almost forgot. Clear the music. Stop the music. Stop the music. Almost forgot. Today, they're launching Neuva Nitro. That's the stuff I've been drinking right here. It's making me feel like I got energy all day long. I mean, it's like, woo! It's like a German marching soldier. I mean, what do you mean by that? If you know, you know. They invented meth. I'm just saying. It launches today, so you can go buy yourself Neuva Nitro today. You can also buy yourself the Snow Collagen. This is the collagen that is exactly like the former BIOCELL, except it's in a powder form. The reason it's in a powder form is they can ship it cheaper. That's why it's easier to ship powder than it is water. It's just part of the facts, and because it has the Snow Collagen in it, double the benefits. Double good for your body. It helps with the snap, the crack, the creaking, and the pop, just like the rest. The tests have come out really good on this stuff, and I'm excited to try it myself. I haven't tried it, I admit, but I'm gonna. If you want to get your hands on the Snow Collagen or the Neuva Body, which has been out, and results are, I have not lost a pound between yesterday and today. But I'm down from 305, 306 to 297. I'm still hovering at 297. Been losing weight today, but I did eat ice cream last night. So, Nitro Snow. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer. And if you're looking for an opportunity where you can get in on the ground floor at the beginning, understand, there's no competition out there. No competition. A few 20,000 people or so out of 2.5 million people, 250 million people in the United States, worldwide 8 billion people, and we're open in countries all over the world. No pink salt. Sorry, ain't got none. I mean, I do have some salt I got from the Amish that's kind of pink that I use for seasoning when I'm cooking my pork steaks. That's a whole nother story. But check it out. Send me a message. Send me a message. Send me a message on Facebook. That's the easiest way. Go over to Facebook, send me a message, and I will send you the links so you can get started buying this. And if you want to get started making some money, now is the time. We're fully out. Everything is launched. They got more products coming. They're just still working on that. What's the name you're using from Neuva? Well, I don't understand what you mean. Just go to Facebook, send me a message. Neuva is the name of the company. All right. Don't send me a text message. It's too hard to transfer it over text message. Send me an email, PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com, or just go to Facebook and send me a message. That's the best way. Or X and send me a message. You can do it that way too, because then I can just click and send it over. It's easier that way. All right. It's Neuva Body that I'm using for weight loss. Neuva Body. If you want that link, like I said, send me a message or an email to Patriot. Send me a direct message on Facebook in Messenger, or send me PatriotMikeShow@gmail.com. This is going to be a game changer. Nobody has what we have. A lot of people, when they came out with the BIOCELL 10 years ago, when Modere did, nobody had that product. It became $1 billion product. You can be the part of the next $1 billion product right here. Same people that put that together are the people that started Neuva. Okay. That everybody's got a collagen product now, like BIOCELL. Every company in this industry has got one. Everybody, there's a bunch of companies in this industry that got some sort of mushroom coffee drink. Drink your mushroom. I'm drinking coffee. I'm not drinking no mushroom coffee. Nobody has the combination of collagen, the pure, it comes from chicken cartilage. It's the best, most bioavailable collagen on the market, with the mushroom, the snow mushroom, and all the benefits you get from that together as one product. We're stacked. One of the themes you're going to get from Neuva is that we're going to stack products together that work together well, so that you get multiplication in the benefits. All right. Send me a message and I'll let you, I'm telling you, yeah, I'm going to be telling you in the next week or so that I've leveled up. I'm bronze, silver, gold on the promoter side. And I'm going to be, in the next week or so, I'm telling you, I'm going to be going up in levels on the recruiter side, because so many of you that decided that you wanted to do this, though there's some that got the link and they're curious and they're watching, but they're not really into it. They don't really want to do it, just want to be customers, and that's cool too. But so many of you have reached out to me and said, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and some of you are doing it. It's going to be awesome. You watch, I'm going to tell you, it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. And see, I waited till the end of the show, so you didn't have to put up with it. But 415 of you are still there. All right. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Patriot Mike is out.